Want to achieve your dream goal? Listen to the tips from the guy who made it happen to himself. I dropped 70 pounds going from a 4X to a 1X in 4 years. I went from 10K to 6 figures without a college degree. You too can get the goals you set. It's time to live your best life now. I'm your host, Tony Woodall, and welcome to Goal Getting Podcast. Hello, goal getters. This is Tony Woodall, your host with Goal Getting Podcast. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Today, we're going to be talking about the 6 steps you can do to rock your goals this coming year. So we want to start now. Yes, it's getting towards the end of the year, and we want to start thinking about next year and what we can do to achieve our goals. And a lot of you will start New Year's resolutions. And I'm going to tell you, don't bother with that. Start setting goals. Do the things that you need to do to get the goals that you set. In our episode last week, episode 34, we talked about the subconscious mind and how that works and how it's created and how negative and limiting beliefs can be trapped there from a young age. I have show notes for you, goalgettingpodcast.com/mental, MENTAL. And on those show notes, I have a link to episode 34. If you are on iTunes or one of the other podcasting networks, you should be able to just flip down and find episode 34, the one before this, and we talk about the subconscious mind. One of the chief techniques I teach in the Goal Achievement Success System is a program that I learned as a hypnotherapist. The mental bank concept was developed by the founder of Hypnosis Motivation Institute, Dr. John Kappas, where I studied hypnosis and hypnotherapy techniques. Dr. Kappas developed Success is Not an Accident, the mental bank concept, after 35 years of practice, helping many of his patients change their subconscious mind and achieve their goals and dreams. I began studying the mental bank concept along with learning more about how the mind works. I wanted to learn how to change the limiting beliefs in my own mind and wanted to set myself up to achieve my goals. So what were my goals? Well, I wanted to make more money than I was making. I wanted to have a better career. You see, I had been working in minimum wage jobs or positions that weren't where I wanted to be in life. I had been in law enforcement, also worked as a rigging truck driver, delivering supplies to rigging teams at construction sites. I worked in grocery stores. I worked delivering glass for a glass company, and I drove limousines for an airport livery service. All of these are minimum wage or barely above jobs, and certainly not the kind of work that I wanted to do, nor the income that I wanted to earn. When I started using the mental bank concept, I was earning about $10,000 per year working low-wage jobs. I will show you the method I used to take my income from $10,000 annually to over $150,000 annually without a college degree. I had been studying many of the motivational speakers and successful people to learn how to achieve those big dreams they talked about. And I believed in the power of positive thinking and always tried to think positively and live a positive life. Being positive and believing in myself still didn't seem to help me achieve my dreams. So I started using the mental bank concept. Now, with the mental bank concept, it goes beyond positive thinking. It's not really about thinking positive, though, again, you still want to use positive thinking. You know, the power of positive thinking can help keep you inspired, motivated, and keep you going. But it's not all that it's going to take to get what you want to do, because it's really the mental bank concept's beyond the use of positive thinking. It's using the subconscious mechanisms that cause things to happen and causes us to make the things happen. The concept works with the unconscious power or energy that we have within us. And our biggest challenge that we'll ever have with this and being able to achieve our goals and to change our subconscious mind will be us following through. Understand this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is not an overnight program, or it's not positive thinking. Positive thinking helps, but it is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is steady, incremental change, and we're going to be talking about how we can go about that and change our subconscious mind, get rid of limiting beliefs, and replace them with powerful, success-oriented, goal-achieving beliefs. Now, the mental bank concept is kind of like a recipe. All of the ingredients are necessary for success. So we're going to talk about those ingredients for success today. The first ingredient that we must have is we must come to believe in the power of the subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind is a goal machine. It always achieves what it's programmed to achieve. Did you hear that? It always achieves what it's programmed to achieve. The good news is, and there's bad news. The good news, it can achieve whatever it's programmed to do. 98% of our day is automatic, and our subconscious mind uses that to do that. And, being that it is able to achieve what it's programmed to do. So, as I mentioned in last week's episode, sometimes, our subconscious mind sees and thinks that we are as successful as we need to be because that's the way our family was, or that's the way we were raised. And that's what I have in my subconscious mind, is the ability to only make a certain amount of income because it considers that successful. That doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong, but it doesn't mean it's going to help you if you want to do more. So you have to change the thinking within your subconscious mind. You have to change the way it's programmed. The bad news is we're responsible for all the bad luck. We create it all, and you can't do anything until you accept it. What happens is it's a signal that comes out of our subconscious mind, and it delivers exactly what we ask for. So what we have to do is we need to change that signal. So what's stopping us from doing that? As we talked about in last week's episode about the subconscious mind, we talked about homeostasis, the innate drive to stay the same. That's what's stopping us. Homeostasis is the enemy of change. Well, Dr. Kappas developed a program to take these elements into a new and unique way that only takes 2 to 3 minutes per night. You have to be able to overcome homeostasis for just 2 to 3 minutes per night. The changes will happen incrementally, not in one session, so it's going to take some time. Now the question is, can you do it? Can we do that every single day? And the key is, ingredient number 2 is daily reinforcement. We have to be able to reinforce these changes that we want to our subconscious mind every day. Every day reconfirms its belief about you in our subconscious mind. Every day you are in the situation you are in, it affirms where you are. So if we're going to change, we need to challenge this on a daily basis, folks. We have to make that change daily. So what we want to do is think of your mind as a bucket of water. It's got all these things in it that are negative or limiting type beliefs, but we're going to put a pebble in the water. The water doesn't change, but the more and more pebbles you put in that water, it will eventually be no water in the bucket. So it's very simple, but it takes time to do that. It takes daily reinforcements of these principles that we're going to be changing. Now, with our limited mind script that we have, there's what we call a homeostasis floor and ceiling. As we go through making these changes, we're only going to go as far up as our script is going to allow us. And then it will send us down until we get to the low point. And then it will be then that it will motivate us to do it again and to get higher and higher. So this is different for all of us. So yours may change at different times, and you may feel these leanings to stop and not be motivated anymore. So we have to fight through that. We have to send new signals, and we need to do it every single day. Now, the third ingredient to be able to change the subconscious mind is we have to come up with a symbolic language to communicate with the subconscious mind. How do we talk to the subconscious mind? We have to talk in a language that it understands. So Dr. Kappas selected dollar signs and numbers. Now, dollar signs in our culture in America, the dollar sign symbolizes success and prosperity. Now, in your culture, if you're not from the United States and you're one of our listeners, and I know we have many from other countries, you can use the same type of concept for your financial currency, whatever that is, and numbers, because our brain is kind of like a big, giant digital computer. It recognizes that numbers, that 4 is more than 2 and that 10 is more than 5, so we have to deliver this through our subconscious mind and deliver this language, use this language that the subconscious mind can understand. So we use the dollar sign and numbers or money to be able to motivate and to work with the subconscious mind to start changing our thoughts and our limiting beliefs to higher beliefs. So that's what we're going to be doing. And what that allows us to do using this currency or this language, this symbolic language to the mind. It allows us to do this very easily and tap into the back door to the subconscious mind. Now, we could do it through hypnosis as a guided method, but it's really cost prohibitive because, again, we want to do this on a daily basis. So you don't want to use a hypnotherapist. Unless you got the money, you could do it every single day. But, we have to be able to do this by ourselves on a daily basis. So Dr. Kappas came up with this particular methodology to be able to use the symbolic language of finance or money to be able to talk to the subconscious mind and tap into that back door. And the other way that we do that is our ingredient number 4, which is ideomotor response. Now, Dr. Kappas says that what he wanted to do was to be able to make it easier for us to get into the subconscious mind. And he chose something that is automatic behaviors, something that we do every single day, like breathing, talking, walking. So Dr. Kappas chose handwriting and using a longhand or cursive to deliver this on a daily basis. Now, again, this is all based on, the American culture. So, it may be a little bit different, but I think it should work fairly similar with the, doing the writing that you would do in your language. If you're not, doing English speaking or whatever, you should have the same types of automatic responses with your language and writing your language. It doesn't take a lot of thinking to do it. You trained your mind, you trained your body. You got that muscle memory going when you're handwriting and you're writing, in your cursive language instead of script or something like that. So, or whatever type language, it just kind of flows if you think about it when you're writing, handwriting. So use longhand to deliver this on a daily basis. Now, again, if you're American or, trained in English speaking or American schools where you do longhand, if that's something that you're trained, then this will make it easier for you. So why handwriting? Well, again, it's an ideomotor response. It's an automatic behavior that we don't have to think about it. And handwriting, if you've heard about it, handwriting can't be duplicated by someone else. So that's one of the things that we have. You've heard of handwriting analysis or behavioral graphology. You can duplicate somebody else's handwriting, their signature, or a short note, but for the long term, long writing, you can't really duplicate that. An expert can actually detect the forgery. So you want to use this ideomotor response handwriting because it can tell you personalities. Their behavioral graphology, and I took behavioral graphology when I was studying hypnosis. You can tell a lot about a person's personality and other things from their handwriting. Well, the great thing about handwriting is it goes both ways. It not only comes out in the handwriting, but you can also move the personality in because, again, it's an ideomotor response. You're not thinking about it, and it goes directly into the back door of that subconscious mind. So we're going to use this symbolic language with handwriting, in this ideomotor response. Dr. Kappas also found out that the best time of the day to do this is what he started referring to and what we call the magic 30 minutes. This is the last 30 minutes before you go to sleep each night. This is a naturally occurring state where we're at our most suggestible time. This is, the time of day when we're getting ready to go to sleep, not necessarily to bed. So if you do things at night before you go to sleep, a lot of people may watch TV or listen to music or something before they go to sleep. So they may spend an hour, hour and a half or half hour or more before they get ready to go to sleep. It could be other activities that you and your spouse, girlfriend, whatever partner may do. It needs to be the 30 minutes before you go to sleep, not the 30 minutes before you go to bed. So if you got stuff to do before you go to sleep, take care of that, get all that under control, have fun, do what you need to do, read, watch TV, other things. And then right before you go to sleep, do the steps that we're going to be talking about in the mental bank concept before you go to sleep. And that magic 30 minutes. And if you can change the signal, you can change the outcome. And that's what we're going to be doing in this magic 30 minutes is working on changing the signal in our subconscious mind. Now, the next step that's clearly important is when you do this in this magic 30 minutes, what it's going to do is it's going to drop this in your dreams. The 6th ingredient is to drop it into your dreams. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this new signal, this new programming that we're putting into our subconscious mind in the magic 30 minutes, and it's going to drop that into our precognitive dream state. There's several different dream states. The precognitive one is where our mind starts trying to predict our future, and we start dreaming things that are process of, trying to predict what we want to be and what we want to do. Now, this happens deep in our sleep, and a lot of times we'll never remember these dreams, but they're out there. They're in that period of time in our deepest sleep. We have to deliver these into our dreams on a daily basis because, again, our life is attempting to predict our future with these dreams, and we want to be able to drop these in there in this precognitive state. So if you start remembering some of these dreams, then don't get alarmed. You may start having more dreams during the night when you start this process, but it's going into our precognitive dreams to help us predict our future. So your subconscious mind hates unknowns. It hates it so bad that it would rather lie to you than accept those unknowns. So as we're starting to do this process, as we're starting to do the mental bank concept, our subconscious mind is going to start trying to lie to us and make us not want to do this and come up with all kind of excuses not to keep up with what we're doing. It's important that we continue this on a daily basis, because the subconscious mind, if you try to guess what somebody's going to do, what do you base it on? Typically, you're going to base your opinion of what somebody's going to do in the future based on what they've done in the past. Profiling uses this technique. It's very common that, people do what they're supposed to do because they've always done it that way. You may not realize this, but that's what the mind does. It does what it's used to doing. There's an old quote from Thomas Jefferson that says, if you want to change where you are, you have to change what you're doing. To be able to be different, you have to do something different. Your mind is like a boat with autopilot. What does it do? As you're driving and all of a sudden your boat, and all of a sudden that boat starts to veer off course for a while, the autopilot will push you back on course. Then if it goes off the other way, you go starboard or port side from that, it'll push you back to the center of where you were on course. And your mind is like that autopilot. And you get off your course, what's programmed for you, the direction that your mind thinks you're supposed to go. If you get off that course, it pushes you back on course to be where you're supposed to be. If you're having troubles and problems achieving your goals, why? If you can't seem to get that dream job, why? If you can't seem to double or triple your current income, why? It's a lot of time, again, it's because that's what we're programmed to do. So we have to change that programming. That's what this concept does. It helps us change that. How many of you deposit thousands of dollars a day in your checking account? What would your brain think if you did? Would you worry about money? Probably not if you were doing that on a daily basis. A lot of times our subconscious mind, if we're thinking about being something that we're not currently, or achieving a certain goal where it may require us to make a lot of money, thousands of dollars a day or thousands of dollars a month, and our brain isn't used to that, it's going to fight that. It's going to, again, it's an unknown to the brain. It's not used to you being able to do that. So what we want to do is we want to counter that. We want to start giving it the idea and the thought using the mental bank concept that you are actually depositing thousands of dollars a day in your checking account. And if that's the case, as it starts seeing that and seeing that you're doing this all the time, it'll get used to it. And what do you think it's going to do? You're probably not going to worry about that money, and you're going to start getting used to that. So it will then allow you to achieve your dream. So what we have to do is we have to change that signal that we presented. So that's what the mental bank concept is. It's a way for us to bypass that critical mind filter of our subconscious mind. It's a way for us to tap into the subconscious mind a different way, and it allows us to change the signal. And when we change the signal, we can change the outcome. We can start achieving our goals. I used it because I was making only $10,000 a year. That's all I had ever made was low wages. How am I going to make higher wages if my mind doesn't think I can? So I started the mental bank concept, and based on that, I was able to get my brain and my subconscious mind to a level where it knew that I had the ability to do that. And I became more successful, worked my way up into the careers that I wanted to do, and eventually have, taken my income from $10,000 a year or less to a income of over $150,000 a year with, my salaries and bonuses and things like that. But I've been able to do that very easily without having to get a college degree. I'd never had a college degree and I always thought that would hold me back. So now we're going to go over next week how to change your signal by using the mental bank concept. I'm going to show you how your brain can use this magic 30 minutes we talked about to change your signal from one of limiting beliefs to success-oriented, goal-achieving beliefs that will result in you resetting your subconscious mind so that you can get the goals you set. So please come back and join us next week. Today I've gone over a lot. You can check out our show notes at goalgettingpodcast.com/mental, MENTAL, and you'll be able to see the steps, the 6 ingredients that I'm talking about and other steps, how to do the mental bank concept. And next week we're going to get into some very in-depth discussion on how to actually do this. What are the techniques and the different steps that you have to follow to be able to change this signal? What are we going to be doing in that magic 30 minutes? I'm going to show you how to do that, how we can change your mind to deposit thousands of dollars a day in your mental bank checking account so that you can get used to doing that for real. So join us next week. This is Tony Woodall, your host for Goal Getting Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today on this episode. I know you come here a lot, and if you like our podcast, I'd love for you to go subscribe to our show on iTunes. You can get there at goalgettingpodcast.com/iTunes. You can then go to the page to subscribe. If you wouldn't mind, if you like our show, or if you don't, let us know. Fill out a rating and a review. Let us know what your thoughts are, your honest thoughts of our show for ourselves and for others to know about it and know whether or not they should listen. I also am on Jabbercast. We're on SoundCloud, Stitcher, different accounts. So you can go out there and listen, subscribe on any or all of those, and then come to our show notes page. We've got great notes out there. We would love for you to come out there. You can follow us on all of the social media channels. We're on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. Also have a private Facebook group. If you're interested in learning more about goal getting and become a master goal getter, you can join our Goal Getting Masters Facebook group. It's a private group. Go to goalgettingpodcast.com/masters, sign up, and I'll put you in our group. You can also find us on Twitter at Goals Podcast, and my own personal one, your host Tony Woodall at Tony WCMB. The links are on our show notes page, goalgettingpodcast.com/mental for today. So thank you very much for coming out and joining us today. Look forward to talking with you next week when we get into the detail of the mental bank concept. We've learned about the 6 ingredients that are required to make this work. Next week, we're going to talk about what are the steps that we have to do to make us no longer have limiting beliefs, to expand our subconscious mind and change those limiting beliefs to powerful, goal-achieving beliefs. So thank you very much. Go out today and make it a great day.